Satyabama Institute of Science and Technology.
Hello, a very warm welcome. This is Vishnu Priya here, Assistant Professor, Satyabama School of Physiotherapy, Satyabama Institute of Science and Technology. Today, I am here to deliver a lecture series on vertebral column. So, this is my first lecture session about the overview of vertebral column. Especially this lecture series is designed for the students of physiotherapy graduates and postgraduate for the basic understanding. These are the contents that I'll be discussing about. First, I'll be discussing about the terminologies, basics, and the segments of the vertebral column, the structure of vertebra, and the classification of the vertebra. So, these are the basic terminologies which we commonly use in day-to-day practice, which is commonly misunderstood or misinterpreted. First is the vertebra. Vertebra are nothing but it is a single vertebral bone. And then vertebrae means it is a plural term which includes a segment which includes n number of vertebrae. Then vertebral column or spine or spinal column all mean the same. Vertebral column is nothing but it is an entire segment which is starting from the base of the skull till the tailbone. The entire segment you call it as vertebral column. And then vertebral foramen, it is nothing but it is a space which is present at the center of the vertebra. Then vertebral canal, it is a narrow space which is extending from the base of the skull till the lumbar region, the space which is occupied by the neurovascular structure. Then spinal cord, it is a neurovascular structure and it is a part of the central nervous system which is running from the base of the skull till the lumbar region. Then finally the central canal, it is nothing but it is a minor space which is just present deep inside the spinal cord which includes the circulation of CSF. Next, we will move on to the orientation of vertebra. It is generally aligned in a vertical way where the anterior part is always smooth. It includes all the vertebral bodies, and the posterior part which has the irregular surface where it includes all the spinous process, and laterally it also has the transverse processes. So here we could see the orientation of vertebra. The first image is the anterior orientation where there is an alignment of vertebra and vertebral bodies, and then posteriorly all the spinous processes are oriented, and then laterally we have the transverse processes. So it is a linear structure and rigid structure which holds all the weight bearing forces and helps in transmission of from the axial skeleton to the appendicular skeleton. Next we will move on to the basics of the vertebral column. The vertebral column is structurally which has different segments. There are 5 segments. Each segment will have an n number of vertebrae. So first, the vertebral column is a rigid framework which is made up of 33 vertebral bones, and it is intricately designed in a specific manner where there are certain areas where there are limited mobility and there are certain areas where there are a lot of mobility. So this vertebral column provides a supporting structure, a transmitting structure, and it is a weight bearing structure of the human. And this vertebra has 5 segments which are cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacrum and coccyx. Generally, the vertebral column ossifies at the period of 8th week of intrauterine life. So, during birth, there will be a number of 33 vertebral bones, and after the process of ossification, the number of bones decreases nearly 25 to 26. Next, we will move on to the segments. There are 5 segments in the vertebral column. First, we have cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacrum and coccyx. So, here we have the 5 segments of vertebral column. So, first we have the cervical vertebra, then we have the thoracic vertebra, and then we have lumbar, and then finally sacrum and coccyx. So, The first segment is the cervical segment, which is going to connect the skull to the chest region. So this cervical will have 7 vertebral bones. Then we have the thoracic. In thoracic we have 12 thoracic vertebrae, which is going to be a supporting structure for the thoracic cage, which is connected anteriorly with the sternum through the ribs. And then we have the lumbar vertebra, which is going to be the major weight bearing structure of the entire spine. And then we have the sacrum, the 5 sacral vertebra, which is fused together into a single bone. And then finally we have the coccyx, 4 coccyx bone fused together into a single bone. So this vertebral bone is connected to the pelvic bones through the sacrum. So this joint we generally call it as the sacroiliac joint. Next we'll move on to the segmental anatomy. So here we have cervical, thoracic and lumbar vertebra. Each segment vary in size and structure. So in the beginning the cervical vertebrae are very smaller in size and structure. Structurally it is different from the other vertebrae. And then thoracic vertebrae are the medium sized vertebrae, where those vertebrae will be articulating with the ribs to form the rib cage, and anteriorly those ribs are articulating with the sternum. And then finally we have the lumbar vertebra. Those lumbar vertebrae are bigger in size, and those are the most weight bearing structures of the entire column. Then coming to the structure of each vertebra, so generally speaking, the vertebral structure has the anterior part and the posterior part. So the anterior part, which has the vertebral body, which is a very hard surface, and the posterior part, which has the vertebral arch. This vertebral arch will have different processes. This is a common structure for all the vertebrae. Generally it will have the vertebral body as well as the vertebral arch. Then we'll move on to the typical and atypical vertebra. Typical vertebra mean those vertebrae will have a similar feature or a common feature, and atypical vertebra means those vertebrae will have a specific feature or a different feature from other vertebrae. Next we'll move on to the features of typical vertebra. These are the features of a typical vertebra. As I told before, anteriorly there will be a vertebral body and posteriorly there will be a spinous process. So anteriorly, this is the vertebral body. It is a big structure which is responsible for loading and unloading. Then you have the vertebral arch. This vertebral arch will have the specific features on it. So we have different processes on the vertebral arch. The first one is the spinous process. Spinous process is nothing but it is the long and slender elongation in the posterior part of each vertebra. So this is the spinous process. And then we have transverse process. This transverse process lies laterally on each side of vertebra. Then coming to the lamina, lamina is a flat or a broad surface which is lying on posterior part of the vertebra. So this purple colored one is the lamina of the vertebra. So then we have pedicel. Pedicels are nothing but those are the connection or the junction between the vertebral body and the transverse process. Then we have the vertebral foramen. Vertebral foramen is nothing but it is a space which is present or a hole which is present in the center of each vertebral bone. Then we have the articular facets. We have superior articular facet and inferior articular facets. These articular facets are responsible for articulation between the adjacent vertebrae. Then we also have demifacets in the thoracic vertebra. Those demifacets are responsible for articulation with the rib bones. So here we have the typical vertebra which has the vertebral body anteriorly, and posteriorly we have the spinous process. Laterally we have the transverse process, and also this vertebra is from the segments of thoracic region. So we also have the demifacets in the vertebral bodies, which is responsible for articulation with the rib bones. Coming to the next topic, segmental difference. Each vertebra in each segment is of in different size and shape. So in the cervical segment, the vertebrae are usually small in size and it has a specific transverse foramen. And next we have thoracic vertebra. Those vertebrae are mediumly sized, and then the lumbar vertebrae, those are the bigger sized vertebrae. So coming to the feature, each one has different feature and different specifications. The vertebral foramen in the cervical is of a bigger size, and in the thoracic of a medium size, which is in an oval shape structure, and in the lumbar it is of very smaller structure. So here we could see the differences of each vertebra. The first one here is the cervical atlas and then axis, and here we have the 7 cervical vertebra, and then thoracic spine where we have the thoracic vertebra and the lumbar vertebra. So these are the different structural features of each segment of vertebra. So these vertebrae are different in size and different in structure. So all these differences we will be discussing in the next lecture. So as I told, each and every segment of vertebra are different in size and structure. So here we have a typical and atypical vertebra. Generally the vertebrae are classified into typical and atypical vertebra. Typical vertebra means those vertebrae will share a common feature. Atypical vertebra means those vertebrae will have a specific feature in nature. So these are the variations that we could see in a typical and atypical vertebra. So generally the vertebral body size will be of different in size, and spinous process, generally in the cervical we could see a bifid spinous process, and transverse process especially in the cervical region where we have the transverse foramina. Then vertebral foramen, as I told already, the vertebral foramen size is different in each segment. So these are the different characteristic features of each vertebral segments. So at first, the body of the vertebra in the cervical region is going to be very small, and in thoracic region it is larger, and in the lumbar region it is of the largest. And then foramina, here in the cervical we have 2 foramina, vertebral foramen and transverse foramen. And in the thoracic region we have only one central vertebral foramen, as well as in the lumbar we have one central foramen. Then coming to the spinous process, here the spinous process in the cervical region is long, slender and bifid. And in the thoracic region it is long, fairly thick and vertically oriented. And in the lumbar region it is short and blunt in nature. Then we'll move on to the transverse process. Here in the cervical, transverse process is very small, and also it has a specific foramen called as transverse foramen. Then we will move on to the articular facets for the ribs. Especially the articular facets are present in the thoracic region. Other regions will not have those articular facets. And we have the articular facets like superior articular facet and inferior articular facets. So these articular facets are present to form an articulation between the adjacent vertebrae. So here the superior articular facets in cervical is oriented postero-superiorly, and in thoracic it is posterolateral, and in lumbar it is medially oriented. And next, inferior articular facet in the cervical it is oriented antero-inferiorly, and then in thoracic it is anteromedially. Then in the lumbar region it is oriented laterally. Then finally, about the intervertebral disc, the size of the intervertebral disc is more thicker in the cervical region, thinner in the thoracic region, and it is massive in the lumbar region, since because it is a weight bearing structure. Then finally, we'll move on to the typical and atypical vertebra. So typical vertebra which has a common feature, atypical means which has a specific feature. So here the typical vertebrae consist of a vertebral body, vertebral arch and the spinous process and transverse process. Then atypical vertebrae are like C1, C2, C7, T1, T9, T10, T11, T12 and L5. So these are the atypical vertebrae present throughout the vertebral column. So finally we came to an end of this session. So vertebral column is a tough resilient structure which is a weight bearing structure of the human which transmits the load from the skull, from the thoracic region to the appendicular skeleton, and it is a resilient structure which is having a higher mobility in different segments. In this session, we have discussed about the structural features of the entire vertebral column, and also we have seen the typical and atypical vertebrae. So in the next upcoming video, we'll be discussing about the segmental anatomy. Thank you for watching.